All right, this is going to be really really cool. I'm here with Nate Grayhack. He's the guy behind Sticky Albums, and this is a Nate and I are going to do this podcast together. So I'm not the host of this. We are the host of this. So I'm cutting my intro right there. Nate, who are you?
Thanks so much. I'm really honored to join you with this. I love watching like a good TV show. If you ever go back and watch like the pilot episode of Sopranos, it's a little rough around the edges, but there's something good in there. So I'm excited for our pilot episode. We don't even have a name for it yet.
No.
But I'm Nate Grayhack, founder of Sticky Albums, and I've learned so much in the last year about how to market a photography business that Frederick and I just every time we get on the Skype together, we chat for hours, and we thought, why not just record it?
Yeah.
We've got some really good content we're excited to share with you guys, and today and into the future.
Yeah, totally. And just to introduce myself, I'm Frederick Van Johnson, and I host a podcast called This Week in Photo that I think, Nate, you and I sort of met through that podcast.
Yep.
And we're up to, 280 something episodes on that thing now. So I'm familiar with the photography aspect, and I've interviewed countless photographers talking about everything from business to technique to everything, Yep. But I've also launched a business called Media Bytes, which is a marketing school for photographers, because that's my other passion. It's the whole marketing piece and the science and the psychology of marketing, and how do you reach out to people without seeming creepy, and it's all like this weird sort of alchemy of how to do this stuff the right way, because there's a lot of wrong ways to do it. So I love doing that. I love teaching it. I love talking about it, and just sort of experimenting with different business techniques to see what sticks and what doesn't.
Yep.
And Nate is doing the same thing. So
I
so
think
we're kind of peas in a pod.
Yeah, it's a new frontier. I think that there's a lot of marketing techniques in general that are just fun to learn that have been true forever.
Yeah.
And so there's part of it is learning how to apply those time-tested strategies and psychology to the new web to running a business online.
Yeah.
And there's some things totally unique to this new world of doing a business predominantly through the web.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about those. So we're doing a series of little video chats like this, and there'll be more in the end. By the way, that's a cool little preservative jar you got there.
Thank you.
We're going to do more in the future. This is going to be a serial thing, but we thought we'd kick this first discussion off with a discussion on email marketing, because that is kind of, in my opinion, one of the foundational pin, if not the foundational pin in this internet marketing and new generation. I hate the word internet marketing, but just this next generation of marketing and how we connect our products or services to consumers. And the first thing that we wanted to tackle, you and I discussed off camera, was just why. What's the why of this stuff? Why do you need? Isn't email dead? Nate, right? Email. Right. Everybody says, I was working at AOL, and people are saying, hey, you know what? Email's dead. It's all about social media and text messaging. No one emails anymore. What do you see of that?
I think it's the first. I think it'll always be that. For whatever reason, maybe it'll be dislodged someday, but I don't see that happening. With what's going to keep happening is there's Google Plus and Skype and LinkedIn, and every additional thing adds layers, and Pinterest. But what is the common foundation underneath all of that? Mm-hmm. What do you use to create your accounts there?
Exactly. All roads lead to email, right?
Your email address. And that's the one thing. I think what'll change is a lot of tools I predict will come out to help us get better at managing our emails. Mm-hmm. But I think email is going to be the core thing there.
Well, when you look at it from a business standpoint, I know, speaking for personal experience, when I started learning about just building a business online and how do you do it and what's right, what's wrong, and you study other people, you see what they're doing, and you see what makes you feel creepy, and like, I would never do that, and so you start learning about this stuff, and like you were saying, the common denominator under all this was was email, and I kept seeing this phrase, the money is in the list. You know, whatever you do, build your email list because you can always go back to them and market. And I thought about that. I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. But at the same time, I am personally on a lot of people's lists, and I know how I feel when I get marketed to my email address. You know, there's always that like, why it's like people coming to knock on your door when you're in the middle of dinner. You know, I get that like, why are you sending me this? I thought we were friends. You know, why are you emailing? So there's like this sort of nuance of how you can speak to people through that list to get them to do things for you without seeming creepy, without seeming like you're a car salesman and all that. And you do that really successfully through Sticky Albums. I mean, I'm on your list, and I get your emails, and I never feel like you're like, hey, we just sat down to dinner and here's Nate at the door. Oh, jeez. You know?
Yeah, I try. I think it's a really delicate balance. I've heard there's a couple anecdotes that stick out. One of them is the question of like, how often do you hit somebody's list? Yeah. I think we'll talk more about this later. But the core thing I want to mention is the answer was as frequently as you have something of value to deliver to your audience. Yeah. So don't call them, don't email them unless you have something they care about.
Right.
And if that's once a year or every day, then do it. And I think that I'm on some lists, and it had me rethink, just like you did, the lists I'm on, where subconsciously I had such a negative idea to spam, like all these annoying people just bother me to buy their crap. Well, all I was thinking about was all the people doing it bad. And that's the good news. If you're just getting into it, the bar is low. It's not that hard to do email marketing well, just by offering good content and emailing on a base, setting it up so that it works for what you're trying to say and what your audience wants to hear from you.
Yeah. I know we're going to talk about frequency and how often you go back to your list and all that, either later, but. Yep. I wanted to touch on that a little bit because
let's jump to some specifics. Like I have a specific example that I hear. So for portrait photographers, like let's just do a hypothetical. I've heard the ones that are doing it well. Let's say you do a baby shoot, and a lot of them will sell this product like the first 3 years or the first 5 years. Well, what happens if you have somebody on your list? Let's talk about that. We'll talk about how you get them on your list later, but let's just say you have a list. Yeah. What it lets you do then is automatically communicate to them. So you can set up an autoresponder that would hit them every 6 months. It says, hey, just send in a reminder that your kid is so-and-so. Here's like an opportunity to buy some more prints from the last shoot, or to schedule. We've got some openings here, and if you sign up, you book today, you save X on your shoot this fall. Yeah, so you can build out this kind of this early childhood family photo shoot thing really effectively, automatically. Without
you can sit down at the kitchen table with your laptop and build out the next 5, even 10 years of developmental growth. Right? You can say, okay, I just did a baby shoot, so that's first email. Okay, the baby's gonna, so I'll hit them every year after that, at least, or maybe every 6 months. I'll send a message out with the appropriate messaging that says, hey, your kid is growing, and hey, it might be time for this, or hey, is it time for school yet, or high school or college, so you can build all that stuff automatically in a short period of time and then release it and let it just go. And whenever someone signs up for that, then they get that. That's part of the magic, I think, of this whole thing.
It's so huge.
But how do you? So the other piece of that, with the autoresponder piece, is the I want to go back to spam a little bit, because you talked about that, and that ties into frequency and that line of what constitutes too much, and it's not a definitive line for every person, right? Because I get emails from some marketers that they send a message every single day. Every single day I get a message, and the main reason I stay on their lists is because I want to see what they're doing. It's not because I want to buy their stuff. I just want to see what they're sending and how they're sending and the tone and the copy that they're using. So it's research for me. But then I look at it from a customer standpoint, and I think if I was just a customer of that person, I would have unsubscribed right now, because it's just too much. So, there's no right answer to this, but how much is too much? Is it, like you were saying, it's the right amount is whenever you have a reason to go back, or there's something that you have to say to your audience. And in marketing, there's this technique called, or this phrase called, the reason why, right? So when you're putting a promotion or an email or something together, there should always be a reason why you're going back to them. For example, Black Friday,
Right.
Cyber Monday, St.
Right.
Patrick's Day.
Yeah. Valentine's Day. Yeah.
It's tax time, and you know you got a big bill coming or something. You're like, hey, I got all this stuff happening. I'm dropping my prices by 50% because I need this money, or whatever. It could be, hey, I wanna buy a new car, So please help me because I'm $1,000 shy, so I'm dropping my prices to make the money. But the point is, there's a reason why, right?
Yeah, exactly. So let me dovetail in the whole concept of building a relationship. I think when you look at the average time somebody spends on your site, it could be 3 to 5 minutes at the high end, I think.
Yeah.
Somebody can only get to know you so much in that amount of time, and the first time they visit their site. And what having somebody on your list does, it's kind of like, it's the same. I think the photography industry, it sounds like, if I were to say you as in the industry, has bought into the idea of having a blog, because it allows somebody to look back at your history to get to know you a little bit better.
Yeah.
But by having them on your list, every time you write a blog post, you can push that post to your list. And so like the phrasing, it allows you to date your customers before getting married. So instead of trying to book a session, the odds of booking a session the first time somebody visits your site is so slim these days. And even if the person comes to your site and says, oh, I love their work, this is amazing, we are so busy, consumers are so busy and bombarded with so many other awesome things that we simply forget to come back. And if you focus your website, instead of trying to book a session and make it much simpler about just capturing the email address, then you can spread out everything you want to say to somebody over 10 light touches.
Yeah.
So I'll go back. Some of you guys know my background is in training and development and in education. And if you go back to your college days, if you have 1 hour of time to study for a test and you cram all 60 minutes into the night before, we've all done it. Think about how badly we do on that test versus taking the same 60 minutes, but spacing it out over 6 days, 10 minutes each. It's a concept called spaced practice, and it allows our brains to process and build connections and relationships to other things and understand the content better. The same thing's true with building a relationship. Yeah. When you space that out, it could just be a minute here, a minute here, a minute there. Over a few weeks' time, you're building a much stronger relationship with your customers. Yeah. And then when it comes time, we've only given examples of how to like announce a promotion or actually like book a session. That should be once in a while. You for every one of those emails you send, you should probably send 3 to 5 to 10 emails just about what you're up to or other things.
Giving, right?
Just giving content, giving like, did you know there's this cool event for you and your kids this weekend at the fair? Like just giving information so that every time they see your name come in their inbox, they go, well, every time I open it, I've enjoyed whatever they've had to say. And then that fifth, that sixth time when you ask for a sale, it's like, oh, of course. Where do I sign up? Like, of course I want to do business with this person. Yeah. It's not like a hard decision.
Like you don't want, what you want to avoid is the feeling that you get when you walk on a car lot, right? And you're like, I just want to go look at this car and check it out, and you get the vultures that come on you to get you, what's it going to take to put you in this car today, Nate? You want to avoid that feeling. So on that, let's just talk a little bit about relationship, right? Because that's essentially what we're talking about here. Is it's like you use the dating metaphor. You need to have a bunch of dates before you pop the question or convert, the prospect into a customer, right? So those series of dates or those series of touch points are building that relationship. So I want to notch it down or niche it down a little bit to the standpoint of how do you have that conversation, or what vernacular do you use? Is it, I'm trying to get to the nuance of it. Like, do you Is it a tone of just I'm talking to Nate like this when you're writing out the copy? You keep it 1-to-1, or do you say, hey, it's, use Target's metaphor, the department store. We're having a Black Friday sale, everybody. Come in and check it out. Or is it, hey, Frederick, I'm doing this thing, and I thought you might be interested in checking it out. Which is best?
Right. Right.
So that's that. Though, from my standpoint, when I write my emails and I put things together, I try to keep it 1-to-1 as much as possible. I never use you all or everybody or hey, you crowd. I'm talking to one individual person when I write the email, because it's not a crowd of people, gathering around a computer reading the email. It's one person reading the email. So I'm talking to that person. Singular. All the vernacular is singular. And it's interesting. And the other piece, I know we're going to get into this later, but the other piece of how I write my emails is I tend to, at least right now, I may change because it's all fluid, right? I tend to go text only with my emails because I want them to appear. Even if people know that they're one of many on a list that's getting this message, I want it to feel just like the other messages in their inbox. Not like real message, HTML promotion, real message. I want it to look like it came from Frederick and I'm just telling you something. So I don't know. I mean, I know you're doing HTML mails, and some of your mails are HTML. How do you make that decision?
Yeah, I've experimented with both, and that's what's fun. Is that for those of you that get even the subtlest bit geeky, and I think the safe bet as photographers, we kind of all are. Every basic service we'll talk about allows you to do what's called an A/B test. Yeah, and it is that hooked me. Like I was like, this is so easy to do. Where you don't have to sit and like stress out about which way is better anymore. Right. Like there's this great article in Wired about the founder of Optimizely, where so often like some of the best features in Amazon, like the other buyers bought this. It was somebody's idea that got squashed like 5 times by a VP that thought it was a bad idea. And they finally found a way to just test it. And it tested through the roof, and now it contributes to like 30% of Amazon's revenue. That's great. Is that one idea. So that gets kind of granular, but the idea is you don't have to stress about which way's better so much anymore. Just try it out. And you test which version performs better. And that's what you get to do with some of the very, very out-of-the-box, simple tools that are available today.
Which we're going to talk about that. So let's wrap this one up. In the next version or the next video, we're going to talk about the how, right? So you and I are going to dive into some of the individual tactics and tools that are not tools, but just the tactics of how we're putting this stuff out and the mechanics of it. So I want to dive into that. So each of us should give some parting thoughts, on the whys around this.
So I'm going to wax philosophical for a second. So I was just talking about Amazon, and one of the services that I have with like every dinner party I go to, I bring up Amazon Prime. It's totally changed the way my wife and I shop. Yeah. So we used to go to Target all the time, and Target is amazing you go there to buy freaking toothpaste, and you walk out spending $120 every time you go. I know. Because their whole store is engineered to get you to buy more stuff. Yeah. And I love Target, and I still go and whatever, but we've cut down considerably on the trips for those one-off things. Because before we got Amazon Prime, I was just exploring with the idea of buying stuff online. And then our neighbors got it and they swore by it. It's like, oh, I'll try it. And what it means now, I'll end it here, is that I can, when I think of something I want, there's no more putting it in the queue to like until we get to the $25 mark to then push submit and we get free shipping on those $25. Yep. If I want one product, I get free 2-day shipping. And there's something so psychologically different than getting something in 2 days versus 5 days. Yeah. And so I want new toothpaste. Well, I should just buy that in bulk. So I'll get a really good deal on it, and I'll get it in 2 days. And I just push buy now, and it's done. It's total. There's no more, hey, we should add this to the Target list. It's, we need it. I'm going to buy it now. Yeah. It has totally changed the way we shop. And if you do it for, I think, $79, there's a ton of reasons why to do it. I'll let you explore that on the site. But one of the biggest things people don't know is you can share the membership with your family and neighbors.
Oh, I didn't know that. Really?
Add up to 5 people to your account. So you do it for $70, and you can give that. The only thing that doesn't go to everybody is the media streaming. The person who signs up gets it's kind of like a slimmed down version of Netflix or something. But
yeah. But I'm not. Well, share your account. That doesn't mean they're buying stuff with my credit card, right?
They get the same benefit as long as that account is active. They get the same all the other benefits of
I didn't know that. I'm going to turn that on today.
So without going, I know I went far down there, but that's an example of me just giving. I want everybody to know about that because it simplifies my life, and I think it could simplify others.
Yeah.
So the other reason why I bring that up is it's the world of business and commerce is changing.
Yeah.
Like the way we interact with our friends, it's changing because of the internet and because of mobile and all of these things. Mm-hmm. And I think that we can either sit and complain about it, or we can learn and adapt and use these new tools on the cutting edge, use them as competitive differentiators in photography. So as an industry, we just got comfortable with the idea of we all need websites.
Yep.
Now we all need mobile websites.
Yep.
Now the next step I think we're talking about here is optimizing for capturing and using email to our benefit as well.
Yeah, and I would piggyback on that. So not only is we're stressing in this series the importance of email, and I would looking forward and putting on my my forward-looking future divining hat, I would say that apps are the other piece of it, right? And because in the beginning, when we first got the first iPhone that didn't have apps on it, and then Apple just took over the world with apps and introduced it and sort of changed the way people think about mobile computing with those apps. There was a very limited set of people that could develop the apps, and they could charge $1 gazillion to develop an app, if you wanted one. And they still do. I mean, you're not going to go and sit down and build Angry Birds while you're watching, The Walking Dead or something. So that's not going to happen. But what is going to happen for us creatives, for the people like photographers and graphic designers and those people that deal with visual media, that, you want to just create something to show your photos or whatever, or you just want to publish. You have some thoughts that you want to publish. Adobe has made it insanely simple now to build, especially if you have, Creative Suite skills already, you can build apps. So they're democratizing the whole app building process, at least from the high level visual kind of apps. Not not Angry Birds or any of those really code intensive things, but things where you don't need to touch the code and it's sort of drag and drop. And I want a video here, I want an audio player here. You can do that really easily now and deploy it into the iTunes store so that now you can say, hey, customer, go check out my app, and put it on your phone. So that is the other piece of this. And I think the skill set, like you were saying, the skill set of photographers today shouldn't be one of, okay, I'm afraid of this stuff, I don't want to do it. It should be, go try it out. I mean, you could go to Adobe TV. That would be my give in this talk. You can go to Adobe TV and absorb a gazillion things on different topics related to app building or Photoshop or InDesign or whatever. It's all there for the taking and for free. So I definitely check that out.
Very cool.
The next version of this, I have my notes here. The next version of this, we're going to talk about the how and how people do this. So that we were kind of high level, esoterical and sort of talking about concepts and stuff around email. The main thing that we wanted to get out was email is important. You should pay attention to it. If you're not building a list, you should start building your list now. Then the question becomes, okay, I know I need a list. How do I do it? So that's what we're going to talk about next.
Perfect.